This day is the day, a bad luck's always coming my way.
For today's Grimm adventure, we find ourselves in the Los Angeles National Cemetery. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a deep dive, a deep cut into the Doors music history. Now, if you're familiar with the Grimm Life Collective, we're big fans of the Doors, big fans of Jim Morrison, and we've done videos here in the States as well as in Paris. And there's many more to come because the band is pretty iconic, legendary, and the stories that surround them are kind of out of this world. Now, today's topic, today's video is all about one of their songs known as The Unknown Soldier. Now, before we get too deep into this video, let's talk a little bit of history about the song Unknown Soldier. Well, in 1968, the Doors released the album Waiting for the Sun, and on that album was the song Unknown Soldier, and when it came out, it kind of struck a chord. It became very controversial, and how the band reacted to it, the way the band played the song on stage, as well as a music video that they created, that they played before they played the song on stage, kind of added to a little bit of the legend. We're going to talk about all of that. But in preparation for this, like promo shots for Waiting for the Sun and Unknown Soldier, the band actually had some photos taken here in this cemetery. There's like 4 or 5 of them. We're going to try to line up as many shots as we possibly can. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I remember reading somewhere that Jim Morrison actually got the inspiration for writing the song Unknown Soldier while visiting the actual grave for the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. And the lyrics to this song are insane. Now, even though that grave is over there, it's here inside the cemetery at another marker where they took one of the most famous photos of this photo shoot. And that marker, the monument, is way up at the top of the hill, at the top of the cemetery. It has a plaque that says, "In memory of the men who offered their lives in defense of their country." Now, lining up the shot, we'll go ahead and set the camera right about here. This is as close as we're going to get. I mean, Jim Morrison was sitting up there on the ledge right before the plaque, and the rest of the band were standing right below it. Pretty wild, right? I know when it comes to the topic of this video, it's not big when it comes to Doors history and places that people want to go to. It's off the beaten path, but it's a small piece of the puzzle, and it is history. And we are standing here right now. Now, the next photo that we're going to line up is a lot harder. You got to keep in mind these photos were taken back in 1968, so some time has passed. Now, the next photo was taken with the band standing on a hill, a rather steep hill, overlooking graves, the lower part of the cemetery. And the only place, to me, that it speaks that, the only place that they could have done this is right over here on this hillside that's just to the left of the monument that we were just showing. There's the monument right there. Now, behind the monument are these benches. It's like a nice little picnic area. But there's a clearing right here. Now, of course, the trees are still there, but if you were to cut back all of this brush or get rid of it completely, this is probably the only place where the band could have been standing, right here, right in front of me. You can see the graves in the lower part of the cemetery, and there's houses in the background of this photo. So right over in here, it's the only place that fits. Today, most of the hillside is lined with a fence just like this, probably for safety reasons. And I walked the entire fence to see if there's any clearing other than this that the band could have been standing, and this is the only one. And with the monument right there, it pretty much makes sense. Now, the other photos were taken just down the hill, right over there. I'll show you. I tried lining this up as best as possible, and as far as I can tell, the other photos were taken right over here in this area, because they're standing at like the bottom of a hill, which would have been over to the left-hand side of your screen. You can see the monument there, and just beyond that is the hillside. So I don't think the band would have moved too far throughout the cemetery for the photos. So it appears to be right over in this area. And you can see the tree line off in the distance as well, everything just kind of matches up. It's a beautiful little cemetery. Now, one of the things that I absolutely love about doing videos like this, it always feels like I'm on a treasure hunt, like National Treasure, but with a little bit of a Grimm twist. Now, it turns out that that area that I was just filming at, where the Doors did their photo shoot, is known as the Hollywood section. Whenever Hollywood needs to film in a military cemetery, they always go over there. And the reason I know this is because the security guard came over and asked what I was doing, and I told him, and it turns out he's a huge fan of the band The Doors and had no idea of this history. So we went on a little bit of a deep dive. There's another photo that was taken here in this cemetery where the band is standing in what looks to be a greenhouse. I think people refer to it as the greenhouse photos. He's been here for quite some time, the security guard, and he doesn't ever remember a greenhouse being here. But there is something here that's similar to that photo. Now, as far as he knows, there's never been a greenhouse here on the property. And he's been a security guard here or working here at least going back to the 80s. And he says that if there was a spot here on the property where the band would have taken these photos, it would have been right over here. It's kind of like an employee break room area. And this is it right here. It's a small little place. Now, I can already tell you right now that the awning on the top is not the same as the photo, but it is very similar. I can picture the band walking through the cemetery and then coming across this and liking the way that the light is hitting it, so they stop underneath here and they take a picture. So it's not right, but it kind of makes sense. And then the way that the lines in the awning are running horizontal is completely different to the photo as well. But you can kind of see it. It can kind of see it. Now, like I said, the security guard says that as far as he knows, there never was a greenhouse here on the property. But there is a greenhouse that is owned by the vets a little further down the road, and he kind of gave me directions to where it's at. So we're gonna go down there and see if anything looks familiar. And then we're gonna go to the beach. Right now I'm standing on the beach in Venice, right near lifeguard station number 28. And right in this general area is where an old amusement park used to stand. There was a pier that went out into the ocean, but sadly, it is no longer here. It burned down in the early 70s. But here's the thing. It was an amazing amusement park that had like these haunted houses and like a roller coaster and all kinds of stuff on it. This massive, beautiful amusement park that kind of, some would say was better than Disneyland, but it has a tie to the Doors.
Pacific Ocean Park. Come on and ride the roller coaster down at P.O.P. Or bring the whole family down to P.O.P. There's something fun for everyone at P.O.P. Pacific Ocean Park. There's lots of rides and slides down at P.O.P. And mom and dad and kids will all love P.O.P. Come on and flip your little heads down at P.O.P. Pacific Ocean Park.
Now it's just a beach, but try to imagine a whole bunch of people here. This beautiful pier and beautiful boardwalk stretching out into the ocean with this amusement park on it. And sadly, like I said, it burned down. But it is underneath this pier where the Doors filmed their Unknown Soldier music video. Now, here's the thing. In the music video, the Doors are walking along this beach, kind of like I'm doing right now. And they come to the pylons underneath the pier. And they tie Jim Morrison to one of the pylons, like execution style. And there's flowers everywhere, and they shoot him. They execute him. Now, what's interesting about this, they would do the same thing on stage. So while they're playing, Jim Morrison would stand there, right, I think it was in the middle of the song, he would stand there, kind of like he was tied to the mic stand, and Densmore would be playing the drums, the march, and Robbie Krieger would take his gun and he would raise it kind of like he was getting ready to execute Jim Morrison, but instead of using a rifle, he was using a guitar. And they would reenact that. Now, this music video that they filmed right here where I'm standing, in fact, I'm standing right where the boardwalk was, right exactly where Jim would have been standing. And if I turn the camera over this way, you're gonna see there's nothing here now. It's just all beach. Now you can see my shoes in the sand right there. As far as I can tell, that is the best spot, as precise as I can get to where Jim Morrison was standing in the music video. And this whole area, all this beach back here, is where they would have the Midway and all the roller coasters and the games. Now, what's really fun about this, and I just think it's cool, the Doors actually did play here. Way over here in this corner, right about there, is where they actually performed. It's crazy how things have changed, right? Now, while the Doors were performing this song on stage, they would play this music video during this song. It was kind of like above them and behind. If you've been to a concert, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think they only played it like 5 or 6 times before it was technically kind of banned. It was very controversial. It was, everybody knows the Doors were ahead of their time. So with YouTube today, you can go online and you can see things that you couldn't see before. So do yourself a favor, watch the music video. For copyright reasons, I cannot put that entire video here, only stills really. I mean, I'll see what I can do. But I'm standing right where Jim Morrison was executed in the Unknown Soldier music video. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another Grimm adventure, this time walking some rock and roll history of the Doors and the Unknown Soldier. Until next time, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always